Welcome back to the Civic Hall, Wolverhampton. David Brenner and Jimmy McDonald with you live at ringside. Don't forget, coming up in a little while, we've got our main event of the evening. Chris Hyatt against James Tapisha for the Commonwealth Light Middleweight Championship. But right now, we're at middleweight. Andy Flute against Paul Smith. This is Paul Smith from Sheffield. Good, solid throw. Of those 17 losses, only 5 have been inside the distance. And his nickname is Rocky.
There's a surprise.
Andy Flute. Seen him once or twice on Pro Box. Here's George Gavin again.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next event is a middleweight contest. 8 two-minute rounds. Introducing to you, first of all, in the red corner, from Sheffield, Paul Rocky Smith. And in the blue corner, from Tipton, Andy Flute.
And once again, a local boy, Andy Flute, Tipton,
Paul Smith, scale
in the West Midlands,
10
not so
pounds,
far away
Andy
from
Flute,
where we are in
11 stone,
Wolverhampton.
8 pounds. Timekeeper, Mr. Brian Heath, your referee for this contest. From Derby, Mr. Paul Thomas.
And our good friend Paul Thomas is the referee in charge of this bout. Paul Smith, been a pro a long time. He turned pro way back in the autumn of 1983, October 1983 to be exact. Had a bit of a layoff between middle of 89 and early 91, but back in full harness now. Andy Flute, I said we've seen him once or twice. Very strong. Very strong fighter. Good stylist, but maybe just a little bit predictable at times. We shall see.
Nickname Flutie, which you can see spread across the waistband of his shorts.
Flutie on the waistband and the Rebel written on the left leg of his boxing trunks. Flute in the, I guess you'd call them the lilac trunks, and Rocky Smith in the white with a red trim, and the black and yellow cycling shorts you can see underneath. Popular amongst footballers. One or two boxers starting to wear them too.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's become a popular addition. I don't know whether they're planning to do a little bit of cycling around the outside of the ring when they wear them.
Gives a whole new meaning to getting on your bike, doesn't it? Correct. These are 2-minute rounds. We're scheduled for 8 of them. Now, looking at both these boys, you'll immediately see the contrast that Flute is in what looks like superb condition. Smith, he looks a little bit fleshy around the waist, but a lot of fighters feel just a little bit more comfortable carrying maybe 1 or 2 pounds more than they need to, Jimmy.
Yeah, you know, if it suits the cause, then go for it. Ask George Foreman.
Yeah, keeps McDonald going single-handed, he does, I think. The cheeseburger champ. Pretty even opening round.
The rebel sitting down there listening to a bit of advice, and maybe you'll have to turn into a bit of a rebel to take over against Paul Rocky Smith, who really looks, like you said earlier, David, he's got himself into good condition, even though he doesn't look in the same type of physical shape as Andy Flute. But I'm sure we're going to have a good grueling encounter on our hands.
I guess if he was a real rebel, he'd be standing up. He'd kick the stool out of the ring. Listening very carefully, as indeed is Rocky Smith. Old pro, has seen it all.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Nice line and artwork on the arms.
At 31 years old, you know, he's obviously been
Seconds out.
learnt his trade in a bundle.
Round 2.
Good right uppercut from Flute at the start of round 2.
I'm sure Paul Rocky Smith will agree. Clumpy right hand that Smith's trying to land.
Smith is probably the heavier puncher of the two.
Now these boys very orthodox in their approach, both upright, not so much bobbing and weaving or looking to set the guy up with a jab. They're just right in front of one another, looking to unload with bombs at all times.
Well, that's right. Like I said at the beginning of the fight, Flute is really a pretty good textbook boxer, but never really does anything that makes your eyes open and take your breath away. What he does well.
Good counter right hand from Flute that time. Caught Smith with a right hand over the short pouring jab. Better round from Flute.
Yes, he's been quite canny and working for the body. Good right hand. Smith wobbles.
Yes, it was a very good round from Flute, and a successful fought mainly by the right hand. And I'm sure he'll sit down a lot more pleased with that round than he was in the previous, when there weren't really that much in it.
You know, Jim, I've got to get on my hobby horse again about the 2-minute rounds. You've got Smith, who's had 32 fights, and Flute, who's had 13 fights, and they're fighting 2-minute rounds. It's insanity.
Absolutely. I've got to agree totally. You know, the 2-minute rounds, as we've often discussed, and I'm sure the viewers at home will probably feel the same. You know, it's goes by in such a flash, and I don't really see what it does for fighters who've got big futures in the boxing game by boxing over 2-minute duration, because when you get to championship class, there's going to be 3-minute durations. Let's just pick up here, Flute counter with a right hand. You see him, that one's more of a cuffing short right hook, but here comes the boom, and there it is, bang. It's a good shot, delayed action. Paul Rocky Smith, I'm sure it hurt him.
Round 3. Andy Flute in the lilac and Paul Smith in white.
You can see there, you know, very quickly, the experience that Smith possesses. He's not rushing in, he's taking his time. He knows that Flute's looking to set him up with a right hand, and he needs to stay tight to it. Because being a rebel, he won't need no inviting. The opportunity is given to land that right hand.
Good right. That was speared through the middle of the guard.
In fact, he's doing a job on Smith now with the right hand.
That's a good weapon of Flute. It's a cross between a jab and a hook, and it's a good punch, and it's caught Smith cold a couple of times.
Unless Smith tightens his act to it, it's going to be the shot that's going to end this contest, because he really hasn't got no answer to it at the moment. And you can't keep taking them.
No, remember, he's only been stopped 5 times in the 17 defeats. could be number 6 tonight, unless he improves his defence quite substantially. And this is certainly by far the most impressive performance we've seen from Flute on Pro Box.
And of course, as he's having success, he's growing in confidence as the fight unfolds.
Well, that's absolutely right.
That right hand's going to be his match winner. Smith's in trouble. He shook him. Get right on the edge. Smith don't look like he's fancying the task at all.
I tell you, Smith must be well pleased these are only 2-minute rounds.
He'll probably jump down here and have a go at us for saying we want to see 3. The action we're about to pick up here is something Smith's got to find an answer to, that right hand. There you see, he just flicked it home as if it was a jab, and he got bang on the target area.
And you can see how heavily Smith is blowing. We've only had 3 2-minute rounds.
You know what though, Dave, you need only these 3 minutes, where you tend to box at a much faster pace, you do tend to go more into your cardiovascular system and find yourself fighting for breath. You do tend to pace it a little bit more sensibly over the 3-minute duration.
Round 4.
Such a speedster contest. Can't afford to let time slip by. Smith trying to hold his hands up nice and high now, keeping it tight, trying to defend himself against that right hand, which is sensible on behalf of Paul Rocky Smith. And you see him took that one more on the gloves and bang on the chin. I know which one I'd prefer. Well, this would be interesting now to see how Flute can think things out for himself and start doing things off the right hand, like throwing a right hand and switching it to a right uppercut, or showing him a right hand and hitting him with something else. Because from Paul Rocky Smith's point of view, he's certainly tightened his act up to that right hand and needed to. Excellent.
Good work from Flute.
Flute's being positive, drumming the jab home, looking to set him up for the boomerang right hand.
And Smith now starting to look a little dispirited. He really can't find any way through at all. He was successful rushing his opponent early in the fight, but can't find a way through now.
No, he's looking totally dispirited. He's slumped onto his stall. Always the signs that things ain't going well.
Unmarked.
But another good positive brand from Flute, as he's known in these parts.
Yes, and I'm happy to put my hand on my heart and say that maybe I judged him a little harshly earlier. Like I said, in the couple of appearances he's made on Pro Box, he looked a little bit of a plodder, but he's fighting a good, solid professional fight tonight, and he is going to reap the rewards of that. It's a good performance.
Corner, 10 seconds.
He's really focused, Jimmy.
He's very, very tuned in, David.
Seconds out. Round 5.
Got his big brother Colin in the corner with him. There's Flute, Colin, a former pro himself, of course.
I don't know if we're going to have a little bit of grandstand action from Smith, because he was really sucking sucking up at the end of that last round, and
This
maybe
could be Smith's last hurrah.
Correct. A 10 out of 10 for the effort.
He's finding with a professional's pride now. And it's not a bad idea trying to hustle Flute out of the style, but
He's had to try something different because he was really getting laced up. Even though he did tighten his acts up in the previous round, he's using his experience to try and go and take the initiative away, and put himself in with some form of chance of keeping the fight reasonably close. He's really fighting on an empty tank at the moment because he looks shattered.
yeah. Very tired.
Referee's ready to
Having a
step in.
very close look at him.
One final onslaught from Flute and it'll be all over. He just needs to go up again now, land on the target and the rest of it stop.
That's it, all over.
Good decision by the referee. And the Rebel becomes a rebel to his fans, but a magnificent win which stays acclaimed with a great round of applause. You're right, it was the final onslaught from Smith. He gave it his all. He realised he weren't going to turn the tide. And he really did have nothing left. But he gave it his all.
Yeah, and a perfectly judged stoppage by Paul Thomas.
Absolutely, no question.
He was keeping such a close eye. Let's take another look at the end of the fight again, Jim.
It'd be interesting just to pick up the action here, just at the stage of the fight when Smith had really gone side. He'd given it in his last desperate effort. It hadn't worked for him, and now he was basically looking towards the referee to stop the contest. And there you see, Flute's given the golden opportunity to do so by unloading, and the referee done the right thing and stopped it.
And I think he well deserves that nickname. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Rocky Smith.
A fighting pose from Andy Flute. And as you can see, the main event is coming up next. Chris Pyatt, James Tapisha at stake. Pyatt's Commonwealth Light Middleweight Championship. We will take a short break and join Jimmy Mack and me, Dave Brenner, for more live action at Wolverhampton in a moment.